Hey friends, how's it going? I got something a little bit different for you today. I figure since I've been immersing myself in the realm of Cubase this last month, I thought I would show you something that I've been working on. I think this is my first officially first finished track in Cubase. It took me a little while to wrap my head around it. Those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I'm a Logic user, and don't worry, I'm not going to jump ship. I still love my Apple products. I'm still going to use Logic. One of the reasons that I wanted to dig into Cubase is because I decided ultimately to build a new PC. I got a custom build here, and I did that rather than buy the new Mac Studio. I was kind of weighing one option over the other, and I decided to just go for the PC. And I'm not going to lie, it's stupidly powerful. It's totally overkill, and I love it. And the nice thing is that I can customize it or upgrade it at any time I want. And that's one of the benefits of having a PC. So I'm going to share this track that I've been working on, but I'm also going to share a few thoughts about working in the Cubase environment and some features that I really appreciate and think are cool coming from Logic. It's really interesting to see how, tiny little things differ here and there. Ultimately, all DAWs do the same thing. Each has their advantages and disadvantages, but certainly Cubase is awesome. So far, I really like it. I've actually always had a Mac and PC hybrid setup in my studio here, and my PC has always handled all the video capture and the streaming duties. But I figured it was time to get a major PC upgrade. My old one wasn't really cutting it. But I gotta say, between my Mac Mini and my new PC, I really got the best of both worlds here, so I'm pretty happy. Okay, let's jump into Cubase. Okay, so here it is. It's kind of like an up-tempo sports cue. I'm just gonna play the A section for you. I don't have to play the whole track. Enjoy. Here it is. First of all, drums up at the top here. I'm using Groove Agent. Let me just pull this up. So anyone who's a Cubase user is familiar with Groove Agent. Really easy to use and create custom drum kits with. As well, Cubase comes with a ton of its own kits, which all sound great. This particular kit that you're hearing, I'll just solo this. It's just a really, really simple trap kit that I created just by loading samples, throwing them right onto the pads here. So actually I was messing around with some of Cubase's stock drum kits using Groove Agent the other day. And by the way, I love in Cubase that you can just drag and drop these VSTs. That's slick. I like it. Like some of these hip hop kits that come with Cubase, pretty sweet. Got Cobblestone loaded up here. So let's try something maybe like a little bit more organic here. Really nice sounding kit. Yeah, so definitely liking these kits. I don't want to get too carried away here. So back to this track, the beat you're hearing is just a mix of that trap kit that I created using Groove Agent, as well as chopping up a few trap loops. And these are all bussed into a drums group, which is being compressed using the Wolf compressor. Not going for a ton of detail with these drums. They're supposed to sound kind of like stripped back. Once we get to the second half of this whole A section, I got some shaker and some tambourine. And probably the most important part of this track, the real meat and potatoes part of it, is these horn blasts, which sound like this. So you're hearing two horn layers there. There's this medium blast, and then there's like these really low, gritty ones. So these higher horns are actually just a sample I dragged from Splice, threw it right into the Cubase sampler, which is just so easy. And I just got to work playing a melody on my keyboard. Cubase makes it ridiculously easy to just grab whatever sample you want and just throw it into the DAW and just start getting creative with it. All I got to do is pull up a sampler track here. Let's call this test. Let's pull up my Splice app, see what we can find. So it could be anything, just take this flute one shot here. Let's drag that in. There you go, really easy. You'll notice that we have a bit of a time warp situation going on, so the lower notes here are getting stretched out time-wise. All I got to do is hit audio warp down in my bottom left here. then everything is the same length. So I see myself using this sampler a lot in Cubase, especially, making those up-tempo, high-energy hip-hop tracks. So let's just get rid of that. So that's what these horns are all about. Then we have our strings. So for the strings, I'm using the Contact multi-rack here. I'm using the Aperture Spiccato strings from Spitfire, as well as Nucleus's 16 violins, 10 violas patch spiccatos. And below that, we have the Fluid Shorts 8 violins patch from Performance Samples. Altogether, pretty sweet combination. Below that, I have an 808 bass sample, just a single one shot that I've thrown into Cubase's sampler, and it sounds like this. I'm also putting some sausage fattener on that bass. Omnisphere Plucks. Just filling in that ambient space. That is a patch called Nylon Pluck Glasswell. I'm using Arcade for this little ear candy here, which sounds like this. And I've already bounced this to audio. I do not remember what line that was from. Okay, so one thing I really like about Cubase is that when you're dealing with an audio region, you can just adjust the gain right on the region itself. In Logic, if you want to adjust the gain of a sample, you have to go to the inspector window to do it. I don't think that there's a way to do it right on the audio region itself. And I just think that that's a really handy feature. It just saves me from having to move the mouse around. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but all those tiny little things that just eat up time, you know? Maybe there is a way to do that in Logic, in which case I've just made a fool of myself. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. But hey, that's always a nice way to learn something. I'm not a DAW expert. I just write music and try to find as many shortcuts as I can. Okay, we have some transition effects, little cymbal swell here, and some soft chimes. Also, like a white noise downer. Which I'm putting through some kickstart for that tremolo effect. Got a little verby snap here. And a couple of effects for this build up here. We got a riser and this like drum build. Throughout this breakdown section, I'm also using this really cool Omnisphere patch, which is called Radiotone Melodies. It's one of my favorites. I've used this a lot. So on the bottom here, I'm doing a little bit of VST guitar using Electric Sunburst Deluxe. Just some simple like chugging chords here, which sound like this. Which I think actually I still have to do a little bit of work on. I'm still wrapping my head around editing MIDI in Cubase. I'm just so used to Logic's environment when it comes to MIDI, and I'm really, really fast with it. And I definitely have a lot of catching up to do with Cubase, but I'll tell you what, the first thing that I changed is the default setting for the view on Cubase's MIDI environment here, which I think is like dark, and I changed it to light so I can actually see the notes because my vision ain't too good these days. So that was one of the first things I changed in my settings. But yeah, I'm getting the hang of it. Maybe try something like that. So maybe flam these guitar parts a little bit. Make them sound a bit more realistic. I could easily just pull out my guitar and record this part myself. But you know, just testing things out. This is kind of a test track in general, to be honest. And you know, pretty happy with it. My workflow is a little bit slower than it is in Logic, but I can definitely see myself catching up in Cubase fairly quickly. And I'm pretty stoked with how this track turned out. I'm not gonna lie, learning a new DAW it's tough, even though it's probably good for my brain on some level. Getting everything set up and working sucked up a lot of free time, but here we are. I've got myself a new PC. I've learned how to use Cubase in about a month or so. Everything seems to be working beautifully, and the PC is just fast as hell. And I think that's really nice because you know some of these more CPU intensive orchestral plugins that I got, you know, they just load very, very quickly, and the computer has no problem handling them at all. Before I go, I want to let you know real quickly that the Production Music Academy is there's going to be a big old discount on the membership for Black Friday from Friday the 25th to Tuesday the 29th. I'm really excited about Black Friday, by the way. I got a little wish list. I'll probably do another whole video on that. Anyways, I'd love to have you in the Academy if you're interested. You can be sharing your work with like-minded composers all over the world. It's a beautiful community, and you get access to all sorts of bonus content. We got monthly challenges. We got all sorts of production music courses, and the community is just getting stronger and it's growing all the time. I'd love to have you in there. Let me know in the comments if you're a Cubase user, or you know what? Let me know if you've ever tried to just experiment with a different DAW, or even let me know if you've thought about jumping ship from the Apple world into the PC world. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. It's always good to hear from you guys. So yeah, throw down your thoughts below, and hit the old like button, subscribe to the channel, all those things, and I'll see you next time. Bye.